Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tiffany. So I stopped doing human design content a little while ago, but I had the intention of coming back with some additional content. But what was important for me was it can be a slippery slope when you're creating content around, I'm sure even like with not only with human design, but astrology, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, like any of those systems that give us information about ourselves. It can be tricky to avoid making black and white statements. Like, for example, I really don't want to develop any content that says, well, if you're a generator, then XYZ. And if you're a manifestor, then ABC, right? Because the charts are so nuanced and there's so many layers. In a chart, it's just I wanted to approach it differently. So the way I'm going to go about this now is I get a lot of questions in my human design reading. And so what I've decided to do is to specifically address questions that come up and then just provide like a real life example and how it shows up. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about partnership. I often get questions around, does human design tell you who you should be partnered with? Will it tell me how to find a partner? Are there energy types that get along better? Those kinds of things. And there's so many layers to this conversation. I do synergy readings and I love them because they're so much fun. But so it's a very in-depth conversation. My readings for synergy readings tend to be about 2 hours because you really have to get into all the things. So in this video, obviously, I'm not going to make this a 2-hour video, but what I am going to do is I'm going to speak to a little bit about what human design does tell us about partnership. And I'm also going to share a side-by-side 2 charts with a generator and a manifestor. And I'm going to talk through high level what I look at and how what I'm looking for when I'm looking at 2 different charts. The idea is to really show you how to think about it when you're looking at 2 charts set side by side, okay? And so I think with that, I'll just go ahead and get into it. All right, so human design does not help you predict who you should partner with. It does not say, generator is going to be best with another generator, or generator is going to be most complementary to a manifestor, or anything like that. Any 2 energy types can get together and have a healthy dynamic, especially if they're following their strategy and authority. Also, disclaimer, this conversation is not inclusive of, people's histories, their traumas, their previous experiences in relationships, the baggage they bring to relationships, right? We're talking purely from a human design perspective. I'm not talking about psychological, things. I'm not talking about, psychosocial aspects of relationships. I'm just speaking, generally speaking, in the pure sense of the word. If we're going to use human design as a tool, it is definitely not going to tell us who should partner and who would be better together, right? But if you're in relationship with somebody, like let's say you've dated somebody for a while and you guys are serious, or you're married to someone and it's kind of a long-term thing, it's not a bad idea to pull their chart so that you have a sense of what is going on with the other person. Because in my opinion, synergy conversations between 2 people, it helps you understand the other person and helps you support them. So maybe instead of interpreting something that they're doing as being, for example, selfish or whatever, you're going to now see, they have this type of thing going on in their chart, which makes them a little more, they need more alone time, or maybe they need more, they're designed to be a little more self-absorbed at times, whatever it is, right? So that's what human design brings to these conversations, okay? It's really about helping you understand yourself, and it's helping you understand the dynamics and the energy that's going on with your partner, and it's helping you see it maybe for what it is in a positive way, or how you can support them instead of maybe just immediately taking something personally, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can show a chart to you as an example. Okay, so you will see here that we have person A is a manifestor. I have their details here on the side, and then person B is a generator and their details are on the side here. One of the first things and the most obvious thing that I look at is energy type and strategy, especially. So the manifestor is here to inform. They're here to follow their urges. They're here to initiate. Think of more of like a warrior type energy, like going after things when they feel it. And then also the generator is here. Their strategy is to respond. They're here to collaborate with the universe to go after the things that they want in life. And their energies are going to also work a lot differently. So for example, at a high level, generators, generally speaking, if they're living in alignment and they're doing things they love to do, they're going to have a pretty consistent energy pattern. Manifestor, their energy is going to be a little more inconsistent. So when a manifestor's in their urge, when they're going after the thing they want to go after, they are going to have the energy to get that thing done. But then they're going to need periods of rest because their energy is going to dip again. So generators, the generator in this relationship, is going to have a little bit of a more consistent energy when they're doing what they love to do, assuming that's happening. And then the manifestor might have energy where they need to like rest for a while. So the generator is going to need to be really understanding of, I might be going, working, on some project like, until it's time to go to bed every day for weeks on end. Whereas the manifestor, once they're done with the thing, they've done the thing they want to do, they're going to need to come back to themselves and they're going to rest. And I have a manifestor friend, and this is exactly what happens for her. She just has to take that time to really take a break, and the partner needs to be understanding of that, right? And then getting to, the informing versus responding. Specifically, the manifestor is here to do what they want to do without looking to other people for permission to do so. They are here to stand in their power. I mean, we all are, but especially manifestors, because a lot of times manifestors will have had conditioning when they were younger that told them to stay small and to, just kind of, look to other people for permission and things like that. And so really it's important for the generator to be aware of, okay, my partner's strategy is to inform and to go after the thing they want and to not stay small, to really be in their power, to go after it. And so they are here to support their partner. If the manifestor says, I really want to take ballroom dancing lessons, but partner B is like, not my thing. Partner B should probably be totally okay with that and be like, go do it. Like, do it on your own. Like, you don't need me, just do what you feel called to do, right? Instead of maybe being jealous or saying, I only want you to do things with me, like things like that, right? So that's where this can come in helpful. Likewise with the generator, the generator is here to respond to something. So for example, let's say a generator is really frustrated with work and they hate what they do. The manifestor, and like, let's say they're looking for a new job, or whatever, the manifestor can encourage the generator to say, well, start looking to see what's out there in the world. Is there something in, engaging with their five senses. The generator should be engaging with their five senses to see what's out there so they can see what they're here to respond to. And the response can come from seeing something on television, seeing something on social media, conversations with friends, so, helping each other and supporting each other and following your strategy is going to be really important. All right, let's talk about authority. And also, at the same time, I'm going to talk about not self. So if you're unfamiliar with not self is, in human design, is what is the thing you experience, the emotion or the energy you experience when you are not living your design, when you are not following your strategy and authority. So for manifestors, they experience anger when they are not living their design. Generators will experience frustration, feeling stuck, feeling like a tiger in a cage, pacing back and forth, like they hate, like they feel stagnant. And it's important when we're in a relationship with somebody else to be able to recognize what's happening in the other person. Authority is, how do I gain clarity to make decisions? So in this chart, in these two charts, the manifestor has ego authority and the generator has sacral authority here, which is similar to their strategy. It's very similar energetic. But so to give you an example, if the manifestor is experiencing anger, the generator in the relationship, person B, can be like, instead of taking that personally, they can witness that anger and say, oh my gosh, like what is going on with my partner? Something's happening where they're not living their design. So the question that you can ask then is, as a partner, say, hey, like, is there anything you're really wanting to do that you're tamping down and not, is there something you're wanting to go do? Like, is there an urge you're not following, right? And encouraging the manifestor to try to figure out, like, what is it in their life? Like, are they staying small? Are they trying to people please? Are they not fully expressing themselves? Are they not going after the thing that they want to do? And maybe they're doing something else. Are they compromising too much? So the generator can be really supportive of that and hopefully have a supportive conversation when they see that not self of anger come up, instead of taking that personally. Likewise with the manifestor's ego authority. Let's say the manifestor in the relationship is making choices between two jobs, and the generator in conversation with the manifestor, knowing that they have ego authority, again, how do I gain clarity to make decisions? The ego is saying, do I selfishly want this thing? Is it going to get me something? Is it going to get me recognition? Is it going to get me letters behind my name, a title? Is it going to get me money? Is it going to get me visibility? Like, am I going to be seen and recognized, right? And so ego authority, it's not a negative thing. It's like, do I want this thing selfishly? It's this voice that's like selfishly just wants something for seemingly material reasons. And so the generator can say, to the manifestor, when that manifestor is maybe considering two job opportunities, can say, well, which one makes you feel seen more? Which one do you like the title of, like, and really just tell, which one do you just selfishly want, even if it doesn't even make sense, right? Like maybe one of the positions, it doesn't make sense why the manifestor might want that one, but the ego's just, for some reason, there's something inside them that says, I selfishly want to do this thing. So the generator should then, can then support them and say, then go do it. Like, you're telling me you just want to do this thing, so do it. In the same example, if the generator is expressing not self, which is frustration, and let's say they are also, unhappy in a job, and they are trying to figure out between two job opportunities, which one should I do? And let's say one job opportunity makes more money than the other job opportunity. So job option 1 is a little less money and job option 2 is a little more money. The manifestor can support their partner, the generator, by saying, okay, let's take money off the table, because that's not what is important for this generator. Which job would you love to do? Like, would you feel satisfied with? Which job is in a topic or area of interest to you? Which job is in an area of your passion? Which job do you feel like you could, really do very easily? And so the manifestor with ego authority, the mistake they would make is, oh, generator, take the job with money. I don't care if you like doing that job or not, right? So if the manifestor understands that the generator, that it's very important for them to be doing work that lights them up, for them to really be doing work that they feel satisfied with, then and kind of encouraging them to figure out which one that is for them, that is how they're going to support each other. So I hope that's helpful in terms of just energy type in general, like how partnership can come into play with human design. The other thing that I'm going to touch on is the gates and synergies in your chart. So wherever in our chart we like quote unquote complete each other is areas where there's chemistry. So in this chart example, with these two side by side, you will notice that, for example, so the generator here with gate 34 that extends up here this way complements the manifestor has gate 20 here in the throat energy center. So what that means is that while they are in aura with each other, this full channel is completed for both of them. Okay, and so these are areas of chemistry in our chart. Another example is this manifestor has 31-7. When person B, the generator, is in aura with the manifestor, they are going to also experience what it is like in that moment to have 731 together. You'll also notice with gate 23 here in the root energy center and gate 43, the manifestor has 43. Here in this chart with person B, they have 23. So they connect here. And so what happens is, if you think about our charts as an electrical system, when these two people are in aura of each other, they are picking up on the areas that they don't have. Anywhere where you're white is where you are picking up on the energies of the other person. Anywhere where you have colors, your own stuff. So wherever you kind of match, you're going to be able to complete that circuit in a way. So it can be pretty cool. The positive side of this is that when you're in aura with this other person, so for example, when the generator person B is in aura with the manifestor, they are going to have a defined or experience the energy of a defined ego energy center. And because the manifestor has a defined ego, they have this full channel. And what it's going to do for the generator is it's going to give them a little bit of a boost of motivation or willpower. And it might feel good, right? And so they can actually leverage that to go harder, faster, for longer at something. Because their willpower, they'll experience that kind of more consistent willpower when they're around that other person. The challenge side of this is that it's possible that the generator could get addicted to that energy, and is a way kind of addicted to that person, because maybe they like themselves more when they have that more consistent willpower or motivation happening and experiencing that. So what's really important is, as an individual, is to really understand what energy centers you have colored and which ones you have white or open, and understanding that wherever you have white in your chart, you're not designed to experience that energy all the time. It's going to be inconsistent for you. But know that when you pick up on other people's stuff, enjoy the ride or leverage it in a positive fashion, but then understand that it's not always yours. When you're by yourself and in your own aura, that's not how you're meant to operate all of the time. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is the solar plexus energy center. So with these two charts, even when you look at this, the synergies of what's connecting and what's lighting up when they're in aura with each other, the solar plexus energy centers here on the right-hand side are going to remain open or white for both of them. The solar plexus energy center is about emotions. It's a motor center. It's an awareness center. It really helps. It's where the emotional wave lives, right? But when you have an open energy center that's of the solar plexus, your emotions are externally inspired. And so what happens is that for these two in partnership, when they're together, they're going to be pretty chill, calm, cool, and collected. My husband and I actually have the same thing here. We both have open solar plexus energy centers. And when we are together, things are pretty chill, calm, cool, and collected. However, what happens though, a mirroring effect can happen. The challenge aspect is, if my husband comes home and has had a really crappy day at work, and he's experiencing some feelings from that, and they're not positive feelings, when he comes in aura of me, I'm able to experience his feelings, and I feel it in spades. And not only do I feel it what he's going through, but I feel it as if it's my own. And so it can, as when you have an open emotional center, it can be really challenging, especially when you're around other people and you're picking up on the emotions that are going on with them. Then what can happen is, because I'm feeling it, I'm pinging it back to him, and then he's pinging it back to me, and it can be this kind of like mirroring effect. And we find that it doesn't happen very often, but if one person's like really going through something, if we're like in aura with each other, it can kind of escalate. The intensity can kind of escalate a little bit of the emotion. Doesn't mean anybody's being mean or anything like that, but it just means that it just gets more intense within you, and you just feel this intensity within. So what is good, and what I often tell people is, if you have this dynamic in your chart, it would be really helpful to you to like go into another room for a few minutes so that you can kind of get in your own aura and get back to that calm, cool, and collected. I'm not saying you should walk away from your partner when they're in a time of need, but maybe it is just give me a minute. I'm going to step out for a second. I'm coming right back. Or maybe you can talk from a little bit more of a distance, so you're kind of outside of the aura of the other person, still be supportive, but you're not really picking up on that energy that's going on. So that is what can happen with an open solar plexus center. And the last one I'll talk about, just for the sake of this discussion, is the defined root center. So person B here, the generator, has a defined root center. So the root center is like a pressure center, right? It's like the gas pedal on the car. It's an accelerator. It's this pressure that's just waiting there to help you kickstart things. So what often happens in synergy conversation, I'm telling you, like almost every synergy conversation I've ever had, this is a dynamic that shows up. One person has a defined root center, the other person has an open root center. And so what ends up happening is, because this is a pressure center, the person who has the open or white center picks up on that pressure, right? They feel it. And the positive expression is, oh, I can leverage this pressure to start something new, or a new project I want to work on, or something, whatever it is. They can use it to kind of help them kickstart things. But because that pressure is not their own, the challenge side of this is that they may pick up on the root center of the other person and feel like, so person A in our case may feel like person B is pressuring them all the time. You're pressuring me. Why are you pressuring me? They feel this pressure, and they articulate that they're feeling pressured, even though person B with the defined root center has never pressured them one time in their life. At least that's their side of the story, right? And so, person A can often feel like they're being pressured by person B, even if person B's intention is never to pressure them. It's just that they're sensing that pressure. So that is just kind of high level with a few examples within the energy centers. And then digestion, I just want to touch on another example in the charts. And again, these sessions are usually 2 hours long, so we get into lots of other things. But so in this case, person A has what we call direct light. So your ideal digestion in human design is, it's how should you be processing, the brain and the gut are related, right? So how are you processing information, but then how are you also supposed to be processing food or digesting food? And so for this person, it's direct light, which would mean that the manifestor here, they probably do better if they have their biggest meal of the day during the daytime hours, whether that's the morning, whether that's lunchtime, whether that's also sitting in the sun, like literally they might like sitting in the sun outside at a restaurant. Whereas person B here is indirect light. So for them, it's more energetically correct for them to be eating their largest meal in the nighttime, maybe right before bed, even though I know all of the outside world says that you should never do that thing. But for this person, it would be energetically correct. Or maybe they prefer to eat in, need to eat in the shade, or even in a restaurant that's got like more, like moody romantic lighting and it's darkly lit. They may even feel like they process information better in darker rooms, things like that. So, this is something that's going to need to be negotiated between these two individuals. And, one way that can happen or show up is if the manifestor who has direct light, maybe they do eat their biggest meal of the day at noon, but they also share maybe they share a time or a meal with their partner, the generator, in the evening, but maybe they just eat very light. Like maybe they just have a smoothie or they just have a salad. It's just something very light, but there's still, there's no expectation of the generator that they're also going to be eating a big meal, right? So there's ways to work together. And when you know these things, it makes it easier for, it makes it so that you understand what's going on with the other person, but also so that you can support them in some way. All right, so that is all I have for now. If you are curious about I'm happy to do more of these videos of like manifestor and with a projector, or generator with an MG, or reflector with a generator, like whatever. So if there are any requests for energy types and conversations like this, like I'm happy to do other videos or take requests. But if you have any questions, let me know. And I really hope that my perspective on this was helpful in some way.